All right.
What are we doing today? Next stage. Second stage of the practice of presence of God.
Exactly. So, again, the first stage, just at the end, I'm just going to repeat the end result. The end result is that you're in a relaxed position and that you're feeling like the whole body is more porous. So much like a sponge would be. So, the air sort of moving in and out, or can actually reach into the body from every area of the body, right? So at this stage, we want to sort of elaborate on that a little bit, kind of take it to the next level. So you'd go through that same practice and get to that stage of being very porous. And from there, then as you breathe in and out, you're going to imagine that the breath is coming in and through the whole body at the same time. So it's like, instead of just breathing through your mouth and nose and having it sort of suffuse through the body, we're also going to imagine that we're breathing through our feet and that it's rising up and infusing the whole body with air. The air is penetrating through the whole body. And as I breathe out through the top of my head. So it's sort of like it makes this flow, go through. And then the next one, I'm going to breathe in through my head. And as I breathe out and it's moving through my body, it's going to breathe out through my feet. And there's no specific order. I'm just using the order that comes to my head at the time, but it doesn't have to be this specific order. So don't feel like you have to memorize anything. And then through the left side, breathing in through the left side of my body as if the wind is passing through me, and as I breathe out, it's passing through the other side, and then the reverse. And so, and then maybe through the front of the body, through the back, and then in through the back and out through the front. And you're just going to mix that up. I mean, it can even be advantageous to breathe through, like, let's say my right arm, as I'm breathing through my hand and my right arm. And again, that air is sort of suffusing the whole rest of the body, passing through all the pores, my head, my feet. And then as I breathe out through the other hand or the other foot. It doesn't always have to be matching. So the more that you can get into this rhythm of and again, breathing in through.
This is from that fully expanded, porous, spongy state. I've gone through all the stages of each layer, and then I'm doing this breathing and
exactly,
and the air pass through.
Right, and the more sensation of that visceral sensation of feeling, you're focusing on that you're really trying to feel air as if it were wind passing through the body, so that you feel sort of this wave of air as if you were, sort of sucking in the air through your feet, and that it's moving up through the body. And as I breathe out, I'm breathing out through the top of my head. And so it's literally moving through the interior of your body, every aspect as much as possible. And your focus is more on that, excuse me, that visceral sensation of air passing through your body from different areas to different areas, and always suffusing the whole body every time it moves through. So, and that's really the focus and the concentration. And if you feel as though, the body's expanding a little bit more and contracting and sort of moving itself, that's fine. That's just another sort of end result of concentrating on this sensation of movement of air, or almost the tactile sensation of air passing through different levels of the body. And so there can be this whole, the whole body is breathing at once, so coming through in all different directions and moving out through all the tissues, touching all the tissues in the body, basically, because of the porous nature that we've imagined the body to be in at that time.
It kind of sounds a little bit like some of the exercises in the healing Qigong routine.
Right, the pore breathing and those types of things, right? So they're breathing, imagine that, you're in the universe, and that light is from the stars, from the planets, all of that reflected light is coming into the body from every place in the body, so through all the pores of the body, you know, breathing through them and sort of culminating in this lower dantian, or the, you know, a couple fingers below the navel basically, and in a sphere of light there. And then on the breath out, it's sort of expanding and breathing out through the body as well. Or if there's an injury or illness or something like that, injury or illness is an accumulation of energy that's stagnant, and that turns to smoke or some kind of dark material, and when you exhale, that's being blown out to space, being blown out to the edge of the universe basically. So again, breathing in the light and expanding it out. It's a variation on the same thing. Mm-hmm. This, rather than just being that sort of concentrated or a little bit more focused healing technique, this is really just to experience putting my concentration or my focus more on that tactile sensation of the body being more porous, and that the air is touching every cell of the body, you know, or every area of the body, making us more and more, or let's say less and less dense, mm-hmm. and, you know, more and more in contact, every area of the body, internal and external, more in contact with our environment. That's all. The energetic environment of the air in this case, right? So, but it will extend to other things later. But it's best to start with this because it's the easiest for us to wrap our heads around at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. And again, if you feel like as that happens, that you feel at some point in your mind that the body is even sort of growing, you know, that it's becoming even larger, or even the pores are even expanding even more, almost like they want to get more of that. That's a very common sort of sensation and feeling for most students. So if that's the case, let it go. Let it, you know, do that and let it happen. But keep your focus on, you know, breathing in and letting the air pass through the whole body, breathing out and breathing out through the other side or through another area or whatever. The more variation you have, it becomes more and more common. You don't have to analyze it. Again, this is not about analysis. This part, what we're talking about, this is the analysis. This is where you think about, okay, this is what I'm doing. Here's the technique. But once you start doing it, go for the feeling. Because it doesn't have to take any pattern. It can be actually the more random, the better. But don't think about that either. I mean, if you do a few times in one pass, a few times from left to right or right to left, that's fine too. Or from the feet through the head, if you want to do that a couple times, you know, to kind of get the feel of it, and it's become stronger and stronger. Perfect, you know. So, but there's you know, that randomness is perfectly fine. You know, draw it in through the left hand, send it out through the right foot, but every time it's not following a pathway, so to speak. You want it to infuse the whole body. It's just that you're sort of focusing on an area that it's being drawn in through and out from. But again, it's sort of like this air is washing through us in all different sorts of directions. And, you know, and in that relaxed state, I can still sort of intend it to be drawn in from one area and out through another. So, and that's perfectly fine. And remember, it doesn't have to be, you know, just this appendages, right? So it can be that I'm drawing it in through, I'm breathing through my eyes and, you know, out through my nose, or out through my ears, breathing in through my eyes and out through my feet, or feet and then breathing out through my eyes, or what. You want to include all those aspects. They're all porous. They're all more space than physical matter. So we want to accentuate that idea, make it stronger and stronger in your mind, and in your physical sensation will sort of lock it in.
Yeah. Right. It's kind of like I'm reminded of you know, one of the practitioners that we know. He's always talking about you know, when you say I am, and then whatever comes after that is like encompassing your self-identity,
right?
And you know, your life is just an extension of what you identify with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it sounds like there's definitely like connection with this exercise.
Yeah, and more so in the disidentification with any one part, right? So it's more like, the most uncomfortable part of that disassociation sort of practice of I am, right, is the I am and then leave it blank. Mm-hmm. And the mind starts going, there's that pregnant pause of like, okay, what am I? And when we open that up and expand it, it sort of leaves us open to not identifying with any one thing or any one aspect, but with the one, with all, right? So just I am. And so, but it can be very uncomfortable for us because we're used to identifying ourselves with certain things or a certain aspect, or, I am a man, I am a husband, I am whatever, a father, or whatever it is. So, or your career, anything, all of those things. I can't dance. Whatever it is. So, I can't dance. That doesn't really work, but you get the idea. So it can be the negative thing or a positive thing, right? But so it's when we leave it open-ended, it sort of encompasses all. And so we're not just pigeonholing ourselves and making ourselves more finite. The whole art of this is to make ourselves expand and become more of everything. Right. So it becomes much easier to sort of do these practices and get the end results that we're looking for. When we encompass everything, it's sort of like we're in this room right now. If what's easier for me to do within this room? If I want something that's in this room, it's a hell of a lot easier for me to, walk to where that thing is and pick it up and bring it to me. If I want something that seems to be not in this room, it takes more effort for me to, let's say I need something at the hardware store, I can leave this room, get in a vehicle or walk there, or some effort, more effort seems to be, needed to go and get that thing that is not local to me right here in this room. Well, this room is our physical environment. But when we expand that environment to include all, it's just as easy for me to get this thing as to get something else, right? Because I've expanded my circle to include everything. And that's a lot of these exercises are ways to get us to experience that. So that it makes it easier. It's not just an intellectual understanding or like this huge leap of faith, right? It's definitely like you wouldn't have, if I asked you to get something in here, you'd just stand up and you'd take as many steps as it took to get it and you'd bring it over, right? I don't know if you'd give it to me or not, but but you could do it.
Maybe.
It would be easy. So if I asked you to go, get me a seashell from wherever, you'd have to do some effort to go there. But if your circle is expanded and this room encompassed a place with seashells, a beach and seashells, it wouldn't be any harder for you to get up and go and grab a seashell and bring it over to me. So it's the same kind of thing. A lot of these exercises are stretching our minds, stretching our experience so that that circle encompasses more and more and more. We're expanding ourselves. And so we're making it less of a leap to sort of, bring those things into our sphere because they're already there. We just need to sort of reach out and figure a way to, sort of collect them up and bring them closer to us so that we can experience them firsthand, so that we can have them for the time that we can have them, and then we return them, we give them back. All of this stuff goes back. We just use it for a while. We just use this vehicle for a while. But the thing that's really us, it encompasses everything, right? So we just use this and then we give it back. And then we find a different vehicle. So it's the same idea. So again, many of these techniques, all of these techniques in one way or another are ways for us to step by step expand that idea of ourselves and make our circle of what we have easy access to larger and larger. That's all.
Yeah.
So, and this is a really
That's
nice
really
way
good.
to do that.
Yeah, that's
It's
really,
a nice
really
way
good.
to do that. So, this one's short and sweet because it's
it's
the interim, right? It's the
Yeah.
transitional part. It's the communication part. Then we're going to take that and expand it tomorrow and make it much more, make the experience much more expansive.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Cool. Looking forward to it.
there you have it. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thanks. We'll see you guys tomorrow.